For this day, I thank you for this morning, and I thank you most of all for letting me be your servant. God, I need to borrow your breath for just a moment so that we can hear exactly what we need to hear. I ask for deaf ears to come open and for blind eyes to see. And I give you the honor and the praise and the glory. And everybody in the house said, all right. Today's Bible story, that's what I would normally say in kids' church. Today's Bible story, we're going to talk about Ezekiel and the dry bones. Everybody say dry bones. And if I had a title for this, I thought this was cool. Megan's helping me with my PowerPoint thingy. You got it? Come on, girl. Ta-da! That's not it. Here it comes. There it is. Yay. All right. It's You're Wanted, Dead or Alive. Do not sing the Bon Jovi song, because I know some of you, I see some of you. It's wanted dead or alive. So I want you to think about that for a minute. Somebody wants you dead, and somebody wants you alive, and I'm sure you can already figure out that. But we're going to dive right in. Everybody say, dive in. We're going to go to Ezekiel, the chapter 37. And we're just going to read, we're going to start at verse 1. All right. The hand of the Lord came upon me and brought me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was full of bones. Then he caused me to pass by them all around, and behold, there were very many in the open valley. Everybody say many. And indeed, they were very dry. And this verse was like, wow. It says this, and he said to me, this is the Lord speaking to Ezekiel, he says this, Son of man, can these bones live? So think about that. God asked him a question, and when I thought about that, God knows everything. Why is he asking Ezekiel, hey, can these bones live? When you think about a teacher in school, she asks questions. And what does the students do? They raise their hand and they say, hey, I know the answer. That's what they're checking for. They're checking to see if they know the answer, because they would ask the question to see if they're learning. So it's the same thing with God. Can these bones live? He wants to know if Ezekiel is learning. He knows all, but he wants us to grow, to come alive. Everybody say, come alive. He wants us to come alive to know his purpose. All right, look to your neighbor and say, are you wanted dead or alive? Dun, dun, dun. All right. Sometimes the enemy, obviously you guys have figured that out, the enemy wants us dead spiritually. He wants us that. He wants during worship time, he wants us not to worship. He wants us during prayer time. He doesn't want us to pray. He wants us dead spiritually. Because sometimes he wants us to walk on easy peasy street. Everybody say easy peasy street. Not Sesame Street, but easy peasy street. He wants to think that when we come into church, it's all about us. That's what he tells us. Oh, it's all about us. It's too hot in here. You can't worship. And here's a great one. I am mad at Sister Susan. I hope there's no Susans. I always use that as a kid. Susie, I use Susie. I'm mad. I'm too mad to worship. Why does our mood determine if we worship God? Why? It's funny. I don't understand. We complain that the service is too long, too loud. They play too much. Here's one. I don't like that singer. I wish they'd put someone else up there. I wish they would. You just missed a whole worship time that you could be communing with God. But yet the enemy is whispering things in your ear. He doesn't want you alive. He wants you dead. Good mood, good worship. Everything's going good. You come into church. Yeah, I've got what I want. Woo, good worship. Bad mood, fill in the blanks. Guess what? It's not about us. He seems to say that make being a Christian all about us. That's the way it seems the church has become lately. It becomes as almost like the world, like more of the world is coming into the church lately. And that's not what God intended. Everyone look at your neighbor and say, we are family. We are. We need to stick together from this side to this side. You may not know everybody, but we're family. And I like when Pastor preaches, I'm going to put my mansion right by you. Think about it. If you're mad at a person, they're going to heaven. They may be right next to you. So think about that. You need to love one another. We need to stick together, support one another, encourage one another. There should be no favorites in the church. We are all God's favorite. Everybody point to them and say, I'm God's favorite. Together we will send the enemy running. I heard someone talk about they had each generation in a square. So they had like a child. Side note, Jesus was how old? Does anyone know how old Jesus was when he was in the temple? Just yell it. 12 years old. So don't you tell these kids they can't understand. Because most of these kids know more than us. They really, really do, and they are so hungry. So they had one child here, and then they had a parent on this corner. Parents, pray for your kids. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, too. And then they had a grandparent back here on this corner. And then they had a church member or something. I can't remember what they did. But they said if every person took the heart of God in them and said, God, breathe in me, make me alive, we would checkmate the enemy. Checkmate him. What can he do? You got your kid praying, you got your parent praying, you got your grandparent, and you got your friends, or to fill in the gap, church body. Oh, I love that. We're powerful together, only with God. I have a picture to show. I think it's, you keep going back to that for, sister. Oh, everyone knows what that is. The Twin Towers, we all know, September 11th, they light up the sky with this. Has everybody seen this on TV? Usually. And it reminds us of what had happened that day. Very sorrowful, very, very sorrowful day. But I was watching a documentary on it, and I was like, oh, God, I got to tell them this. Each light, they said that for each building, there's 44 cannon lights. So there's 88 cannon lights in each beam. Each cannon light is the size of a refrigerator. And let me make sure I get my stuff right, 8,000 watts each. And it says that they can see it from 60 miles away. Now think about that light. Do you think this is like us? We are a city on a hill. And if we do not have God's light in us, who's going to see us? Are we going to stay in here and hide and worship when we want and then leave? We call that a Sunday Christian. What happens Monday morning? We need to be that light so people see us. And then I thought about it. Do you think someone driving their car, they say they can see it 60 miles. Do you think someone going to see that, do you think they're going, oh, I bet that number 7 light is the best. They just shine the brightest. That's number 38. Look at that cannon light. No, we are all one body of Christ. We all need to shine. All of us have a calling. All of us have a calling. No one says my calling is to sit in church, worship, and go home. No one says that. That is not God's purpose. Look at your neighbor, say, I do have a purpose. All right, we play a little game. Do you got the next slide, Megan? This is what we play. Oh, we play Monopoly for our worship service. Now you guys are all going, okay, this kid's lady she needs to go. But just hear me out. Hear me out, because this is what I tell the kids. We bring them all together. Of course, they all come up front. Did you guys catch that? When it's worship time, those kids, boom, just think about that. They come up front, and I tell them, we don't do this every week, but I tell them this. I said, think about a Monopoly game. What's the worst space? No one wants to go there. Everybody say it, jail. You're like, do. Oh, I got to go to jail, and I got to sit for 2 times around. And this is what I tell them. If you worship with your whole heart, with everything in you, not holding back. Guess what? We're sending the enemy to jail. He has no power. No power in jail. Ooh, so we need to send the enemy to jail. Okay. I like that. All right. We make the enemy nervous. That's what I tell him. I go, ooh, let's make the enemy mad today. Let's worship with our whole heart. Let's just get him. Ooh, get him a karate kick with your worship. Us adults need that too. Everybody say, yep, we do. What happened to our passion in our worship? What happened? It's almost like a show. Like we come in and I want to stop right here and say, she thinks she holier than thou. I am so not holier than thou. Because I've been in that dry, dead space where I thought, everything's fine. I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. But see, you don't understand. Sometimes if the music is long, you may be complaining, but guess what? There's someone on the other side of the church that needs to hear that song 10 more times because they're about to have a breakthrough, and you're over here complaining. No more. We got to be the light. My light's gone. But I've been in that dry spot. I've been there. When I turned my back on God, I turned my back on him. And I thought, I can do this life by myself. God, raised in church, played the whole part, bought the t-shirt, did all that. But yet, there was a seed that my parents had put so deep in me. And my Sunday school teachers. See, that's why we need servants. You cannot just sit on a pew week after week. We have to serve. Yeah. God has done an awesome thing. Awesome thing. And finally, when I surrendered, then he kept bringing me up and up and up. And I love when you say this, Pastor. He ain't done me nothing but good. And I thought about anything that I wanted in the world. Some people say, oh, money, mansion, cars, nice job. All of that is great. But you couldn't give me anything to turn my back on my Savior. Never. I don't care what it is. Never. All right, verse 4, because we got stuff to do. All right, verse 4. Oh, yeah. Prophesy. Let's see. Again, he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is the definition for prophesy. To say a specific thing that will happen. Didn't say, well, it might happen. No, that will happen. We need to speak it. Everybody say, speak it. We need to speak life. I think someone had on their Facebook, I think Christy did. She had a hashtag, speak life. I love that. We need to speak into people. We need to speak with boldness and courage. Is that right? Courage. Okay. Authority. Speak it. What do you want from God? His purpose. But he wants to hear us speak it. Can these dry bones live? We have to react to him. He's waiting for an answer. We need to pray prayers with boldness, out loud. One of my friends said this, I don't want anybody praying for me if they're just standing there moving their mouth. I want to hear it. So you got someone, and that's okay. Hey, I'm a quiet prayer sometimes. But if you have someone praying for you, dear God, I ask that you help their family. And that is okay. That is good. But man, if somebody comes up, God, I ask you right now to take that family and you take that enemy away from them and you put them where they need to be in you. I mean, with boldness. God says we can have boldness. And it comes from him because I ain't bold. Right, Alex? Alex McAteer went to school with me. Was I bold in school? I was the little girl on the bus. I'm like, please don't look at me. Oh my gosh, don't look at me. But you know what? It's God. It's his breath. It's not mine. I can't do anything. I can't. All right. Verse 5. Yeah. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause, everybody say it, breath to enter into you, and you shall what? Live. Everybody take a big breath. So guess what? Everybody here is alive. That means you have a purpose. That means you have a calling. That means us as a body of believers have a job to do. It's getting late. We're seeing many people turn away. We cannot give up. Everybody say, don't give up. We need to come alive. All right, I'm going to have the set apart team get ready. They're going to put on a song for you. While they're coming, it's going to take them a few minutes to set up. But God asked us this, can these bones live? Why are you here? Think about it. Why did you come to church today? Was it because you just do? Yep, I always come to church every Sunday, sometimes Sunday night, every now and then maybe a Wednesday. But why are you here? There's some people that's been here all their life, and that is awesome. And there's some people that's been here 1 month. It's the same thing. What's your purpose? Why are you here? Why did you come? Service after service. Service after service. Pastors preach awesome word. We cannot complain about the word that's being preached here. But have you changed? Have you changed service after service? Or has it become routine where we just sit and we just go, you love God, I know. I love God, but there's sometimes where I get in the way. It's like, oh, I'm too hot. I got to do this. And I forget. But our heart has to come back to our first breath.
As we look down the road where all the pride
I'm about to run. Somebody say, come alive. Just watching that, did anyone relate to anything? All of us have been here somewhere. But it takes certain growing steps to get where we need to be. I'm just going to run through them. Oh. Okay. I wrote down some signs and symptoms. Sometimes when we have a symptom, what do? Google, sore throat, knot on my neck, and it gives you your prognosis. This is some of the signs of the symptoms of a dead spiritual life. Dry. You think you are fine. I'm fine. You sit on a pew week after week without changing anything. Come to church out of duty. Have no interest in serving anywhere. They'll do it. Someone will do it. Oh, they'll do it. Well, they get paid to do it, so they'll do it. Come alive. You live a prayerless life. These are signs of a dead spiritual life. Lukewarm. God says either hot or cold, or I'll vomit you from my mouth. You follow the world. You look like the world. You watch ungodly TV in front of your children, mind you. Listen to ungodly music. Would love to veer off over there, but just don't have time. Be careful what your kids listen to, because that is a seed. That is one seed that was planted in me, that it disgusts me when I hear, and you better put your shoes on. And I was so wrapped up in country music, so wrapped up, that it rooted down inside of me. I've heard all the excuses. It's no big deal. I like the music. But for me, it changed everything. Because every seed that went in started growing little vines until it trapped me so desperately. Be careful what you watch, what you listen to. There's nothing different about you. Some people you even work with have no idea that you're even a Christian. And then when someone in the break room starts talking about Jesus, you do this. Oh man, don't get me. Don't look at me. Why? Because you're not alive spiritually. You will stand for nothing. But in verse 10, you got verse 10, Megamoo? It says, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived. Everybody say, they lived. And stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. We're an army, church. We either have power or we're powerless. The enemy wants you dead, but God wants you so alive so he can use you. Signs of an alive spirit. First and foremost, you recognize that you're dead. You cannot move forward from step one until you have conquered that. You know what? I am dead spiritually. Number two, you will surrender with your whole heart like a child. You will allow God to make changes, and that is the most challenging place to be. And we will never be to the end until we see Jesus face to face. We're always going to have challenges, but do you allow God to change you in the process? We're a work in progress. A live spirit, you want to dig in the Bible. You want to. It's hard at first, but once you see this is his love letters to you and what you can do with what he gives you. And I do want to throw in real quick at the back of the foyer, I don't know where my paper went, but there's papers back there. I give the kids some Bible apps to download because everybody's media. But it's a paper, and it's a homework assignment for this week, if anyone's interested. We give the kids homework. So your assignment would be to read Ezekiel, list any dry areas. What are some steps you're willing to take to change it? And it goes on and on. But at the bottom, there's some free Bible study apps. They're awesome. You can set up a reminder, and your phone will go like, bling, time to read. Because we need that with this crazy busy life. But we have to. In order to be the city on the hill that God has called us to be, we have to. We have to grow. Everybody say, I need to grow. I am going to borrow a baby real quick. Let's see. Can somebody bring Jazzy up? Oh, she's getting changed. Where's Haven? We got any babies? I need a baby. She's like, I got one. Oh, here come. Oh, she's sleeping. That's okay. We got one. So Haven is going to be our... You can stand right here, Jess. This is my beautiful niece, Jessica. So she's going to be our spirit when we first take breath. And she'll start out, and she'll need everything from that mama and that daddy. And she's already started cooing, and I think teeth are starting. But there's different steps that she's going to go through to grow. And it's going to take, well, I know you're not the mom, but okay, mom. It's going to take a parents, whoever they live with, whoever their guardian is, to pray for that child. I'm going to have you stand right out here in the middle. So here is us when we first take breath with God. We don't know much, but yet he's going to give us more to do. Has anyone ever seen a baby when they start pulling up? First they crawl, then they start pulling up on things, and they kind of wobble around a little bit. But whenever they take their first step, the look on their face, it will blow your mind. I think they have a picture. Show the picture of the baby, Meg. Look at that baby. See, that's what happens to us. When we start trusting God, we're like, oh, yeah, you got this, God. We become like this baby. Have you ever said that no baby would take the first step and be like, ah. Once they start walking, guess what? They know that's what they've been called to do. And they know that. All right, thank you. So us as Christians, we can choose to either be alive or dead. And I always giggle when a pastor always says, fat babies on a pew. That makes me laugh every time. Fat babies on a pew. But almost now it breaks my heart because we do have a lot of babies in our pew. And we still have our binky in our mouth. And every week that we come to church, we just keep putting that binky in. No, God, I don't want to grow. I don't want to grow. But God has so much for us. No matter what you've gone through, doesn't matter. He's there. He's just waiting for you. Can these bones live? He's asking us. Can your dry bones live? And he wants a response. And we put this altar here for a reason. Because out in kids' church, we're going to have to get some more altars, but they flood this little altar. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say, I'm going to count to 10. Is God stirring your heart? I don't have to say that because they have childlike faith and they know that they need him. So why is the church so afraid to make a move and say, God, I need you? These altars used to be full. They used to be alive. I love it when it's like it floods up here and you have to go on the stairs or down the aisle to pray. I love that. That just means that we're being powerful as a body. We went to Haiti, I don't know how many years ago, and I will never forget, and some of the team will probably never forget. We did a kids' service. You remember this? And there was probably well over 100 kids. We thought we were going to, it was as quick as the altar call was given. They didn't hesitate. It was almost like a bulldozer. They were, I think our eyes were probably like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's the way it should be. We should be so hungry for God. Everyone stand. And these tombstones represent some of us. But God can change so much. Everybody say, God can change so much. Because on this, see, what are people going to say when you die? Are they going to say, oh, she went to church at Messenger Church. She led the kids. She did some songs. I don't want them to say that. But what if your tombstone reads this? Here lies a world follower. Oh, she went to church, but she did other stuff in the world. No. When God takes over your life, guess what? It's going to say, here lies a world changer. Oh. And my tape probably won't stay. Yeah, that's the way it goes. This one, here lies a prayerless life. I just didn't have time to pray, God. I know you needed to talk to me, God, but I was too busy. I wanted to watch that show. I wanted to play on my phone. You know what he says? And God has told me this. He said, get off Facebook and put your face in my book. That's one way you can change. So instead of here lies a prayerless life, how about here lies a prayer warrior? Man, I know she prayed for her kids. I know she prayed for her church. We have this scene over here represented some, I think the verse says, rescued our daughters and our wayward sons. So many of you have children that you have put seed in them, but you have not seen it yet. It's coming. It's coming. Let him breathe in you. Say, God, I need your breath. Oh, and lukewarmness. Everyone knows what that is. You're neither hot nor cold. Play the part. Do the routine. It's all about me. I don't want to change, God. I don't want to change. So they will say, here lies the lukewarmness. But instead, how about here lies on fire for God? On fire. We need to speak life that God gives us. Use his breath. He's our power. We're nothing. We're nothing without him. But if you put your breath and you say, God, breathe on me, just watch. Oh, just watch what happens around you. He's going to take you from this side over here and give you favor and blessings, and you're going to go, really, God, did you just do that? Oh, yes, you did. Oh, God, you did that too. Oh, yes, you did, God. Yes, you did. Oh, but God, I'm scared. Take that step and you watch. You take that step and you watch what happens. You watch what he does in your family. You watch what he does with all of it, everyone around you. You watch. There's nothing that God can't do. There is nothing. Don't you say, oh, I know. Oh, you don't know my life. You don't know my life. No, but I know God. And I know he's got a plan for you. He does. He has a plan for you. Serve him. Serve others. A world changer. See, what I see out there in kids' church every single Sunday, they're world changers. They're not going to take it anymore, are you guys? No more. You know what? We had a worship weekend last month. These kids gave up Friday and Saturday. We spent the night here. You know what we did? We didn't play video games. We didn't watch TV. We didn't play on our phones. We didn't write notes. Guess what we did? We had worship and we had prayer. And these kids were laying out. We had kids all under the power. They were going in and out of the pews praying for you guys. Laying hands on the pew. God, I ask that you touch this family. Kids, 10-year-olds. What's our excuse now? They're warriors, and they're ready to be that vast army. So we have a decision to make, don't we, as a church body? Everyone close your eyes just for a moment. I don't have any fancy altar call. But if you're ready to make any kind of change, God just needs a glimpse of a change, just a hint. And he says, can your bones live again? Maybe you've been so torn down that you're like, God, I don't think I can. And he says, oh, yes, I can through you. I don't know who's on the ministry team, but they can come up, prayer team. And I actually asked some of my set-apart team. Some of them feel led to pray for others. Kids can pray too. Like crazy, they can. So this is just a simple altar call. You can come up to the altar. You can find yourself a corner and just tell God, I need your breath, God. Just one more time. I need that. One more time. They're going to sing Break Every Chain. And you think about those chains that are wrapped around your neck. It's time to break those chains. Don't hesitate. Don't wait, because you know what? Your family depends on it. Mom and Dad, your kids depend on you to be a warrior. They can't do this on their own. They need guidance. We can't just send them off and say, okay, sweetie, you're a warrior. Okay, son, you're a warrior. It's time to be that light. They're going to sing that song.